Hello and welcome back to the Car Crazy channel. Today we have with us this beauty. I happen to believe that this is the most beautiful car to be sold in India, and you must be like, what the hell? But just hold that thought for a second, because if you come down to the side, take a look at that. This is just so gorgeous. Ladies and gentlemen, say hello to the Volvo V90 Cross Country. Now this is an estate. ये जो body form है इसको estate बोलते हैं, station wagon भी बोल सकते हैं. Now for those of you who hate SUVs because they're ugly and think that sedans are impractical because of the ground clearance, this is the answer, because this car has the practicality of an SUV. In fact, it has more features than what the XC90 of the day used to offer. And take a look at that. It has 210 millimeters of ground clearance, which is which is at par with other SUVs. This format should have worked really well in India, but as with every other good car, us Indians took a lot of time to appreciate it, and by then Volvo had decided to discontinue it and continue offering the XC series, the XC60 and the XC90 with a lot more focus. Just take 2 minutes to admire the beauty. This is the part that actually catches your attention. The car is really long. It is I wouldn't call it low to the ground because it is actually quite high up, but if you compare it with other SUVs, yes, it does sit quite low and it is very elegant looking. So let's talk about the design. Check out that long bonnet, and even when you open the bonnet, which I shall right away, you would notice that this thing is really long. Take a look at that. It's a really long bonnet, and that just accentuates the nose part of it. बहुत सुंदर लगती है जब आप इसको in person देखोगे. There's nothing too special about the car in terms of the performance, in terms of the brand, but it is just the form factor of it that appeals to me a lot. And I've always loved the V90 Cross Country. It has been one of my most loved cars, and I've come down to Udupi specifically to shoot this one car because very few people actually still have it, and yeah, we have one in black. Now a few modifications have been made. I'll show them to you as well through the course of the video, but let's start with the front. So on the front, you would notice very recognizable, and Volvo hasn't bothered to alter the design. Here we have the Thor's hammer LED design, very recognizable, very Volvo like. And these headlamps also have auto bending technology, so as you turn your steering wheel, the beam also moves along with it. That is pretty cool. These bumpers that you're seeing are slightly different from what the S90 offers. The S90 is the sedan on which the V90 is based, and these bumpers have a slightly more rugged, slightly more off-road purpose to it. These skid plates used to be painted in silver from stock, but the owner here has taken the liberty of painting it black, and he's also done that to the cladding. These used to be gray. I quite like this color theme because now the entire car has an all black theme. This makes it look a lot more sporty. Now you would notice that the bumpers also have fog lamps on the either sides, and these also automatically activate as you turn the steering wheel. Check out that big logo with a camera right underneath, and it has vertical slats with 5 chrome studs on each slat. Judicious use of chrome, and it looks really elegant. Moving on to the side, you have, so these are 19-inch wheels. The car in India was also sold with optional 20-inch wheels with 10 spokes. These are 5 spokes 19-inch wheels, but these are better suited for our Indian road conditions because here you have thicker rubber, you have a slightly higher profile tire, and that just adds to better ride comfort. Obviously it gets discs all around, and the owner here has painted the calipers red. Again, a great contrast to the all black car. It's really long. It gets a really long wheelbase, and obviously that translates to really good space on the inside. अब ये V90 जो है, it sits on the platform of the S90 sedan, which is a luxury sedan, but the chassis has been heavily modified to take on that added weight, to give it that added strength, and to also accommodate the all-wheel drive system. And the underbody of it shares a lot in common with the XC90 than the S90 in terms of the mechanical parts. So this is an all-wheel drive system. Predominantly front-wheel drive. Power is only sent to the front wheels, and only when the rear detects a slip, power is sent back to the rear wheels, until unless you activate off-road mode. And if you're driving in off-road under speeds of 40 kmph, all four wheels will have power. That is a permanent four-wheel drive system. Look at how big this quarter glass is. It's just so beautiful. Now to my most loved profile of the car, and it is mainly because of this shoulder. It accentuates here really well. You can see the step. It gives it that heft. It gives it that really nice stance. Even though the car is raised, it is sitting at 210 millimeters of ground clearance, it still looks nice. I mean, it is a narrow body, but it sits quite high off the ground, but it does not look odd at all. And the rear, so here we have a split tail lamp arrangement, vertical tail lamps. A lot of modern cars have the exact same, or rather similar sort of a layout, the Scorpio and the Wagoner and all, but it all started here with the Volvos. And your reverse light is here. These light up vertically, so you have 4 pieces of illumination on the back. For your main illumination, you obviously have a high stop lamp, there's a shark fin antenna, and you also have a spoiler. This is not your standard V90, this is the Cross Country. So what does Cross Country denote? It denotes race suspension, it denotes body cladding, it denotes all-wheel drive system, and it denotes off-road-ish bumpers. Now here you would see the engine spec. So it gets D5. So D5 stands for a 4-cylinder 2-liter turbocharged diesel engine, and you can see the all-wheel drive badge here as well. The S90 gets the D4 engine, which is in a slightly different state of tune. It produces lower power. The XC90 also gets the D5 engine, but in this car it produces the most amount of power, 232 horses and 480 Nm of torque. When this car was introduced, this engine used to produce the most amount of power, and there is something really interesting about the power that it makes. It's basically called as twin charge. So there's a very complicated system which we'll talk about while we're driving the car, but take a look at the exhausts. Gets twin exhausts, and these are not fake. If I bend down lower, you'll see that the pipe actually feeds into these vents. So very well finished. Nothing here screams over the top. It's not a pretentious car, it is just drop dead gorgeous. Volvo key fobs have remained the same. So you get the lock, unlock and boot release button here, and you get the emergency button here, and that's about it. Now say hello to the Volvo V90 Cross Country. A cabin so luxurious you would not want to step out of it, and there are many reasons for that. Now you must be wondering, why not a BMW, why not an Audi, why the Volvo? Well, let's begin by talking about the interiors and just how minimalistic they are. So in true typical Volvo fashion, this is how you switch on the car, twist to start it. The diesel engine is slightly audible inside the cabin, but that's only at startup. The insulation is pretty good. It gets these glazed windows. You can see it here. These are thick windows, and it really cuts down the outside noise, and it keeps the cabin really quiet. Gets a 16 speaker 1400 watt Bowers & Wilkins audio system. Quite good audio quality. It gets this 9-inch vertical display. This is the home screen. You can swipe right and you can swipe left. So here you have a lot of your multimedia controls and settings, and on the right side you have your vehicle settings, where you can activate a few features like park in, park out, your heads-up display, your corner lights, your active bending lights and stuff like that, your cruise control. And you can also configure a few ADAS features using this screen. It is quite different from what manufacturers offer, but it is quite easy once you understand how to use it. You do have some physical buttons placed lower down, but these are predominantly for your media. The scroller is actually pretty nice to use. Let's talk about this digital screen. Now it has the speedometer on the left side and the RPM meter on the right, and it does have some customizations. You can load the maps in the middle, and you can also change the dials just a little bit. The vents are also pretty interesting. It matches the vertical design of the screen, and they have this very resounding click. And here you have genuine Napa leather, and the seats really comfortable. Now, a very cool touch, the driver's seat on every Volvo has this flag of Sweden, and the seats, no matter how long you drive this car for, 6 hours, 12 hours, these seats are actually one of the best in the business. With other Volvos, you get a heated steering wheel and heated seats, but with this car, what is exclusive is that you get cooled seats, and you also get massage function. You can adjust your lumbar sitting, you can adjust your cushion extension, and if you go on top is where you have access to all the massage options. You can set the intensity, you can set what area you want the massage to be focused at, and you can set the speed. This is how you toggle your drive modes. You press it so that the system knows you want to toggle between drive modes, and you use the scroller to select which drive mode you want. All right, on top you have a nice and large panoramic sunroof. This inside rear view mirror also shows you the direction that you're heading in. Again, quite a nice thing. This car has level 2 ADAS, and you can see a little hint of it being mentioned here, IntelliSafe. So that's a quick look at the front. Gets memory seats, a lot of functions, a lot of features, just like every other modern luxury car. So I'm not going to get into the detail, I'm just going to tell you the standard points. Now into the back, as opposed to the S90 that it is based on, or rather is an extension of, check out that headspace. And that is because the roof of the car does not slope down. It is actually higher, and that translates to a nice and airy cabin experience. I have a lot of space on top of me, I have a lot of space on the left side of me. If I were to be seated here, I would have a lot of space on the right side. So a nice place to be. Under thigh support could have been better, but I mean, the seat base, again, just like the front, really comfortable. Now take a look at this. The car gets 4-zone climate control, so the front 2 passengers can choose their own climate and fan speed, so can the rear passengers. You can individually set temperatures for both sides, and you also get vents here as well as here on the B pillar, but it does not get charging ports for the rear. That is a big miss out, I would say. But all right, never mind. Again, just like the front, you have branding on the speakers, Bowers and Wilkins. Here's a quick look at the armrest. Cup holders that extend, and you have some storage here, a flat storage for your diaries and your phone. And that's about it. That's a quick look at the rear. Oh yes, it also has integrated sun blinders, manual blinders, which is a great thing to have. Again, luxury car needs to offer these sort of features. The reason why I love estates over SUVs is because of the practicality that they offer. This car has a boot space of 560 liters, and that can be extended to 1536 liters when you put the second row of seats down. That compares with any modern SUV, or might be more than that, and it does not look ugly. So let's quickly check out the boot. A quick look at that tonneau cover here that automatically retracts when you open the boot, and as you shut it, you would see it extends. So you don't have to do it manually. It automatically knows that the boot is opening, and it makes way for you to put in luggage. Now, since the floor is low, it is very easy for you to load your luggage. It also has these scuff plates so that you don't damage the paint here. Really flat floor, very usable. It has tremendous amount of space, and if you want to make more space, all you have to do is press this button, and the seats go down right from here. So you would also notice that the floor, even after putting the seats down, is completely flat. All you need is a blanket, maybe a companion. But there we have the V90 D5 all-wheel drive. Now it is time for us to take it out for a quick drive. All right. Right behind the seat of the V90 Cross Country. Now this one is powered by a diesel engine, turbocharged, and let's quickly give it the beans. So I've shifted it to dynamic. This is how you do it. It's in dynamic. You can either tap it on the screen or just press this button. It is in dynamic. And where's the traction control? We have our co-pilot here who's assisting us with the traction control. So the traction control is off, car is in dynamic mode. Build up some revs and all right. And that's 100. So you would have noticed that this isn't the most aggressively accelerating cars out there, but that is okay because it sort of suits the entire nature of the car, and the nature of it is to deal with all sorts of roads, including good roads like the one we were driving on just before, and these sort of roads as well. So that is the beauty of the V90 Cross Country, because let's be honest, the suspension tuning is really good. Slightly floaty towards the back, but that just aids a lot more comfort. So it gets solid steel springs in the front, and those are non-adjustable, but the rear sits on air springs, and that gives it that constant floaty motion, which just makes the cabin really relaxed, really comfortable. Now something that I really want to discuss here is the twin charge technology that Volvo has introduced with this car. This is a diesel and it has a big turbo, which means there is some initial lag when you're accelerating or when you're demanding too much out of the engine. So to fix this issue, what Volvo has done is they've fitted a canister with pressurized air in it, and whenever the engine demands that extra boost, air is fed directly into the turbo so that it spools faster, and the canister is topped up with air using a pump that runs off the engine. So it's a comprehensive system. It as you saw, it does ensure that we have access to boost at all times. Now these are the sort of roads where you truly do enjoy a German car. This is where you feel the steering feedback. The gearbox that this car comes paired with is an Aisin sourced gearbox, and it is an 8-speed transmission. It also has a triptonic mode. So if I want manual control, I can actually just shift the lever to the left and I can toggle up and down to upshift and downshift. This car also used to come with paddle shifters, but as I did mention earlier, they've decided not to opt for the paddle shifters. Okay, we are taking a U-turn. Let's see how the turning radius is. Hey, it's not bad. It's actually not bad. I would like to bring your attention to the odometer reading here. It says 1,35,000 kilometers, 35,000 plus kilometers. So the owner has used it extensively. They've done one international trip. They've driven it extensively in India to different places. They've gone holidaying in it. So this car has actually served its purpose, and I'm being told that no matter what other car they buy, no matter what luxury car they're going to have in the future, this car will always remain in their garage. There you go, quick overtake. Even in comfort, you saw how effortless that overtake was. Just a little tap on the gas, the canister pumps air to the turbo spools faster, and there we have, the torque is delivered instantly. 480 Newton meters of torque, that is sufficient to power this heavy diesel yacht. Just a little tap and it goes. There is a slight delay in the gear shift, but that's about it. It's a beautiful sunny evening here. We are close to Udupi, and this is a road that has been recently built, but not many people know about it. These cars have such great agility, and no matter how fast and how aggressive you drive them, you're never really going to test the true potential of them on public roads, and I urge you don't. But the fact that you can have some amount of fun in a car that looks so gorgeous and so big and is meant to do so many things is just phenomenal. So The all-wheel drive system here, let's quickly glance a little on that as well. So this is a system that is predominantly a front-wheel drive system, and that is to aid fuel efficiency. You don't want power being sent to all four wheels because that is wastage, and the car can pretty much, you know, on day-to-day basis, it can definitely survive on power being sent to the front wheel drives, but only when the rear senses that there is some sort of a slip or there is some sort of a loss of traction is when power is sent to the rear wheels. There is a computer, there is a system that automatically and is constantly monitoring the slip. The only way you can actually make this system, or rather fool the system to work permanently with all four wheels getting power, is when you shift it to off-road mode, and you when you shift it to off-road mode, the speed is limited to 40. So only in that mode is when the car is permanently four-wheel drive, but otherwise it is predominantly front-wheel drive. There we go, some nice long bends, some sharp bends. Now I drove down to this location in the Freestyle, and yes, I do love my Freestyle, but only when you hop in a luxury car like this is when you realize how effortless these cars are in terms of munching miles. You can just keep driving them, and this is not a tedious task. You're actually having fun behind the wheel, and when you arrive at your destination, you are completely fatigue free. I wish I could actually show you guys the car from the outside when it is moving with such elegance on such good roads. It's just must be a sight for all of these guys outside. Alright guys, that is a quick driving impression of this beauty. I consider myself really lucky to be behind the wheel of such a beautiful car, something that I've loved since I was a kid. Now before we go, just as always, a quick look of the car from the outside before we sign off. Just waiting for the truck to go. And there we have it. Beautiful location. Look at that beautiful car. Alright guys, thank you so much for watching this episode of Joyrides, and I will see you in the next one. Up until then, make sure you drive safe. Bye-bye.